Welcome to Perspective with Kaylee Phillips, the safe space to get deep, break through, and find alignment. Here we prioritize wholehearted self-love, passion-driven careers, and living your absolute best life. You're here for a reason, so jump into the good energy, put your rose-colored glasses on, and tune in for massive impact and growth. I'm your host, KP, ready to release perfect and welcome perspective. Hello. Welcome back to Perspective. I am so happy that you're here. I am currently laying down on my couch. You know what? Something about me, speaking of perspective, something about me, I am a very visual person and I'm a very associative person. So if an environment looks good, I will associate that with good feelings. And growing up, I have always been the person that rearranges my room like every week. Like my bed, growing up, my bed saw every single corner possible. Like every angle, you name it, I tried it. Loft, yes, tried it. Like I tried literally everything because just coming home from school with my room looking different and fresh was such a great new perspective. And it got me excited, and it got me excited to keep my room clean also because it wasn't getting just boring. And it wasn't like, oh yeah, I just throw my clothes on this chair because ooh, the chair's not there. It's over there now. I don't know. I just always love moving furniture around. And when I first got my first apartment, when I moved into my first apartment, I was like, this is weird because I basically, I moved out at, what was I? I was 19 or maybe 20. I think I was 20 when I moved out, and I made some big purchases. Like I bought a love sack couch, which I ended up returning anyway, but that was one of my big purchases. Big rugs. Rugs are expensive. So rugs were one of my big purchases. And then like everything for my kitchen, like new kitchen appliances. So those were kind of my big ones. And then everything else I just took from home. I took all of my bedroom furniture. I took my bed. I took, like dressers, end tables, like all this random stuff that I just already had. I also had a lot of my own, like decorations and stuff from redoing my room a few times. And yeah, so I took everything from my house, and my room at home was very decorated, and it kind of just looked like I took this teeny tiny room and threw it up all over the apartment. And it just was this room that was super decorated and like cozy and cute, and then just like spread it all out all over an apartment. Like this section of my room is now the entire hallway, and then this section of my room is the living room, and then like my room was bare, the living room was bare, and it felt so weird. Like I felt so strange. Like, yeah, it was the weirdest thing, and it was not good for my perspective and for my visual environmental associating situation. Like that was not good for me. And I ended up throwing so much stuff out. Like week 2 of living in that apartment, I threw so much there was this like loading dock where you could just put furniture. People would like put their beds in there, and I put so much stuff in there and started from scratch because when I have a good environment, I am able to create better. And, it's actually part of your alignment. It's part of my alignment method. Like environment is very important. Let me tell you something else about environment. When I first launched my Glow Up program. So if you were around when I first started my business, this was the first group program I ever created. It was a 3-part masterclass series called the Glow Up program. And it was all about like your summer glow up and starting your business, not spending your summer like sitting in an office when it's hot outside, like go to the beach, start your business. Like it was summer glow up. It was such a vibe of creating the summer glow up program. I played the same exact music track every time I worked. Like no question. I went on YouTube. If you don't know what this is, you need to go listen to it. I'll actually link it in the description. But I played the same exact Adult Swim intro. It was like a 10-hour loop. Like it was trending on TikTok for a while. Like there was a trend to it where people would make videos to this song, and you might know it when you hear it, but I played that. It could be a 5-hour session, a 10-hour session of me working on this program, and that song was on. And I had my LED lights, like the changing lights, purple, like bright purple. And if you have them, the purple is so bright, and like it makes the entire room purple. Like it makes your arms look purple and stuff. Every time I worked on the Glow Up program, I had that song playing, and that light on, and it set the tone. And that was my way of shifting my environment around in alignment to feel aligned with my task, even when I built my whole business from the same room. I worked from my room right there. That's where I worked. I didn't have an office. I didn't go anywhere, like maybe Starbucks, but mostly I built my business from my childhood room. So the way I would change my environment was, okay, if I can't go different places or like have a new scenery, I'm just going to change what I have. New lighting, new music, set a new tone. And it worked really well. And sometimes that's just the vibe that needs to be, that's what needs to happen. Like whenever I would do content prep, I could never sit at my desk. I would always need to be like laying in bed or like cozy on the couch, because that's where I feel most relaxed and that's where my creative juices can really flow. How did I get to this conversation? I've been talking about environment for so long. Oh, I wanted to just tell you guys that I rearranged my house a little bit, my new apartment. So yeah, I ended up moving from the apartment I was talking about earlier, but I put my bed in the corner. And when we moved here, we were like, the bed has to be in the center. It has to be in the center. We're adults now. Like we need 2 end tables and it has to be like, you know, the perfect center bed. But I just love curling up in the corner when I sleep. Like I will sleep against the wall, basically in the crack. I don't know why, but we put the bed in the corner and I slept so good last night. It was great. Today we are talking about ditching the toxic positivity. Like that is the big theme here, because as a mindset coach and as someone who preaches alignment and preaches living your dream life and feeling so good about everything and positive opportunities are always on the way to me and everything can be switched to a new perspective that's rose-colored glasses, you know, with all of these conversations, if you're someone that is literally depressed right now or going through a really difficult time, you might get triggered by me. You might be like, what are you talking about? That is not how it works all the time. And you know what? You're right. You're so valid, because there are low days. And those are beautiful things that need to be celebrated. And I know that sounds backwards. Like, just stick with me, because you're probably thinking, Kaylee, how can I celebrate something that's so low? That's not worth celebrating. Like, everything can't be a positive thing, but it can be. Trust me. So there is a way to flip anything to a new perspective. Money, emotions, opportunities, love, but not in a toxic positivity way, in a genuine perspective way. We're going to talk a little bit about philosophy too. We're talking about psychology mostly, but we're also going to touch on philosophy, because I like to back my woo-woo with some real education and real information. And we have some really good examples and things we can dive into together today. So I'm really excited to talk with you about this. But my goal in this episode is to help you flip anything to a new perspective, so that even during those lows, you are able to find the balance of honoring the low, honoring this shitty situation, seeing it as it is with that perspective and, you know, a little bit of logic. You know, I love to be a little delusional, but we also need to see the logic, honoring that, but also logically being able to say, okay, there's a positive aspect to this. There is a flip to this. And I'm going to help you see it in every scenario possible. Challenge me. Feel free to respond. If you're listening on Spotify, go respond to the question. Can you challenge me to a perspective that can't be switched? Challenge me, and I bet I can help you. I bet I can do it. So let's dive into it. Right before we start, I just want to say thank you all so much for listening to the podcast. Thank you for being here. I am so grateful for you. Your listening, your downloads, you being present here, it means the world. I am so grateful for you, and it is such a privilege to be able to grab my little mic and lay down and just chat with you guys. It is such an honor. I am so grateful if I've even impacted 5 minutes of your day. If this is your first time listening, or if you are a diehard listener, I am just so grateful that you're here. It is genuinely an honor to be a part of your life. Again, like I said, whether it's 5 minutes here and there of listening to me chat, or if you are listening to me every day, I am so grateful that you're here. And I wouldn't be so inspired to share all of these things about starting your own business and finding your alignment and pursuing your passion if you guys didn't always send me such kind messages, sharing your goals and sharing your passion with me and being so present and committed to your journeys. You inspire me, and we're going to talk about it today, but even your lows, even when you guys message me and say, I have been feeling so anxious, I've been feeling so down, and I am struggling to find alignment, you bring out the passion in me to help you and to change your life and give you even the slightest bit of impact. So I am really grateful that you're here, and I really appreciate you listening. And I hope that I can provide more and more impact as we continue to grow the podcast. If you are a listener and you're a fan, I would super appreciate you leaving a kind review. Leaving a review, honestly, is so helpful, not only for me and for our show's development so that we can continue to grow and do more fun things for you guys and make the show even better, but it also helps get the show out to the right people. It helps it boost to the right people that also are in a similar place as you and that need to be listening to this stuff too. So you leaving a review can actually help impact like 5 other people or 10 other people as it gets grown to other people that would have similar interests as you. It's literally the ripple effect. So I'm really grateful for all of you guys, and I'm grateful for your reviews and your kind words. And when you send me messages about the podcast, I am just like beyond touched. I could cry. And I'm so honored that I'm here. And I can't believe I'm here. Like, since we were talking about when I started my business in that room, if I knew I was going to end up here, like, yes, I manifested it, but also it's just so crazy because I'm a huge dreamer. Like, I will dream big and bold and there are no limitations. So that is a thing. And like, I am still dreaming because we should always dream. There's no finish line. But even when I was manifesting, having my own apartment and having hundreds of people that want to listen to me and making that strong, big impact and helping people, that I'm living it, and I'm like, what? Oh my God, it's so crazy. And I'm so grateful for it every day. So I'm really grateful that you're here. Bottom line, thank you. Let's dive into it now. So we are talking about flipping anything to a new perspective. Very on brand for the Perspective podcast. Me, I'm a very optimistic person, and I'm able to zoom out and see that bigger picture, which is really great because I'm able to zoom out and help you shift out of a spiral, or I'm able to literally like reach in and pull you out of your spiral. I've had quite a few clients that when they're talking to me, you can just feel the spiral happening. I'm like, girl, you're spiraling. Let me pull you out of that, because the thoughts just keep winding and winding and winding. You know, we often have those negative what if spirals, like what if this happens, then what if this happens? And it's all so negative. Maybe with like making an investment decision, or maybe something simple, just going somewhere, or something small. It depends on how strong your what if spirals can get. But let's just use the investment decision as an example. You know, what if I invest into this coaching program and I don't get anything out of it? Or what if I invest and I'm super disappointed? What if I invest and I don't show up for myself? And what if I invest and it's not what I thought it was going to be? And all of these spirals just continue, and it goes down this huge rabbit hole of all of the potential horrible outcomes that could be. But then with that spiral, we end up just ignoring all of the opposites. Because what if it's the best decision you've ever made? And what if this investment is about to completely change your life? And what if you show up for yourself every day and commit to the program and you completely turn your life around? And what if the program is better than you ever could have imagined? We never go down that positive spiral. Why don't we do it? Because the negative is scarier. We're putting the positive, happy feelings and the negative, scary feelings on a scale. We let that scariness hold so much more weight. Why do we do that to ourselves? Why do we let the scary and the horrible and the sad and the terrifying hold so much more weight? Why can't the happiness be so freaking big and so powerful? And why can't we be so grateful and invested in our own happiness that it outweighs any other fear? So I'm going to ask you to be introspective right now and ask yourself, do I let fear and negative potential outcomes and the negative what if spiral, do I let that hold more weight than the positive what if? You need to remind yourself that that positive what if is more likely, because you are in control of your odds, right? And you're in control of changing your direction at any time. So something I said to my team the other day, I said, I believe it is way more likely that I will randomly make $1 million overnight. I don't know how. The universe probably isn't going to tell me how. I don't know how, but I know that that can happen. There's many ways that that could happen, genuinely. And I believe that that is way more possible and way more likely than the thought or the what if of me never making another sale. That just sounds silly to me. And if I had to say which one is more likely, 100% the $1 million overnight. Period. Do you believe that about yourself too? And you don't need any proof. You don't need any like, oh, well, why would that be true? Because I haven't made a sale yet. So what? Maybe because you needed to listen to this before that first sale could come in. Something needs to happen. There's a train of events coming. Trust the process. Trust the positive what ifs. Maybe it hasn't happened because you've been so stuck on the negative what ifs that you're causing all of these blocks. But really, be introspective with me right now and ask yourself, what do I let hold more weight? If you put all of your fears and all of your happiness on a scale, which one comes out more important? Why do we let the happiness be so dull? It's like that fear is like so big, but we don't let our happiness and the potential of all of our dreams be bigger. You know why? This is the why. Because the fear we see as real and the dreams we see as imagination. You need to really put yourself into this perspective here that your dreams are already belonging to you. If you've thought it, if you've dreamt it, then it belongs to you. At some point on your timeline, in some version of your existence, that thing belongs to you. It's yours. Because whose else's could it possibly be? It's in your head. It's in your creative juices. It's in your desires. It's in your heart and soul. When you think about it, it gives you little shimmers inside. It lights you up. It gets you excited. It gets you thinking. So why would it belong to someone else? That just wouldn't make any sense. Those thoughts and shimmers in your mind aren't nothing. And we wouldn't get thoughts and shimmers and excitement over something that's not ours. It's yours because you have it in your mind, right? But we view the happiness and the big dreams and the positive what ifs as, oh, that's just out there. That's not going to happen for me. That's just a dream. I'm just dreaming. That's just a daydream. But the negatives we see as so real because the news shows us all these terrible things and we see awful things happening all around us. So that we're able to say, yep, this is concrete. This could really happen. This is what I'm scared of. This is what's holding more weight. But why don't we let the positives hold more weight? Because that perspective shift, you are channeling energy at all times and you are carrying energy. When you walk into a room, you bring energy to that room, whether you're aware of it or not. And if you're an intuitive person, you're someone that you can walk into a room and if there's conversations happening around you or there's an argument happening or there's little like whispers, you can feel the energy. If you're intuitive like me, you can walk into a room and feel the energy, whether it's anger, it's tension, or if it's good feelings, if it's happiness, if it's celebration, if it's just peace, you can walk into a room and feel an energy. You can sense it. And you know what? People can sense that on you too, because you are always giving off energy. So what energy do you want to give off? Do you want to walk into a room and give off paranoid energy, fearful energy, playing it safe, always being the same, always being predictable? Or do you want to give off exciting energy? That energy is what you are representing. That energy is all inside of you based on your consistent thoughts, your consistent self-belief, your consistent view of yourself in the mirror. And another great way to influence your energy is to surround yourself with people that have the energy you want to attract. You need to surround yourself with people that give you that good, fueled energy. So if you want to be a millionaire, surround yourself with millionaires. If you want to be happy and peaceful, surround yourself with people that make you feel that way, or you make yourself feel everything. No one can make you feel something, but people that give off that energy, and in response, you then make yourself feel happy and good and peaceful. Surround yourself with people that bring that energy to you so that you guys can share that energy and bounce your vibrations off of each other and be basking in that sunshine, warm energy. Because you trying to carry that good energy and then putting yourself in a room with people that are low and hateful and angry or paranoid or playing it safe, that's not going to help you grow, right? That's one of the reasons why I left school, because all of my professors, I felt, were in that same mind frame and that same thought pattern of this is exactly what has to happen. This is how life is. And when I would ask a professor, like in a business major, what if I want to start my own business? Oh, you shouldn't start there. That's not a good place to start. No one finds success at your age starting a business. Or you have to do this, and this first. And it's very unlikely, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to be in that energy. I want to be in the energy with the self-starters, with the people that said, yeah, I went for it. I followed my dream. I trusted my intuition and anything is possible because there's no rule book. Who came down and said, here's the rule book of the order of events that need to happen for you to start a business. And this is how old you have to be to see success. And this is like, who decided this rule book? It's just that we see these consistent patterns in society all around us. You graduate at this age, you go to college at this age, you find your first job at this age, then you typically get a salary raise after this number of years. That's just what we see. So we say, okay, this must be the truth because this is what's represented in movies and in TV and in my family and everyone I know, this is what they've done. But there's no rule book. And that's where it becomes a little bit shocking and a little bit like, whoa, that's a new perspective because we're so used to it. And maybe that comfort is, maybe that's comforting. You know, maybe what you're used to feels comfortable and everything I'm saying is like, ooh, this is actually getting a little uncomfortable because I'm trying to push you out of your comfort zone and push you to explore different horizons and push your boundaries a little bit to what you perceive the world as. But you know what? If you're here right now, it's because you want more out of your life. So it's a positive thing. And that takes me into my whole point of switching any perspective. The ability for us to sit here right now and claim that everything we know is wrong is so cool. That is the coolest thing and such a gift because if we could sit here and know exactly what was right and exactly how everything was supposed to go and we had the rule book that I'm talking about and a perfect plan laid out for us when we're born with step-by-step and a timeline and an age that will retire and the age that will die, that would be the most boring life ever. There would be no excitement. There would be no point of me hosting this podcast right now. There would be no inner dialogue. There's no point because we just know what's going to happen. The beauty of life and the beauty of our existence right now and of all time is not knowing. We are here to explore, to experience life, to have a range of emotions. We're not here to just chase happiness only. I can say with confidence, even though I try to radiate positive energy and be happy and find the good in everything, I wouldn't say my point of life is just to chase happiness because sometimes you need a good cry. Like I will intentionally watch a scary or a sad movie because I want to feel, you know? And that's a beautiful thing about life. And heartbreak is a beautiful thing about life because without the negatives, the positives could not exist. I'll say that again. Without negatives, positives could not exist. Without fear, peace can't exist because it needs its polarity. They feed on each other. And the scarier you get, the more potential of peace that is on the other side. And if everything was just neutral, if we said, oh, I wish fear didn't exist, then that just becomes neutralized. And poof, peace is gone. Peace can no longer be chased because what you imagine as peace, if you say, oh, well, why can't I just be at peace all the time? Why can't I just be on the positive spectrum all the time and just not have the fear side? Because slowly that peace side becomes normal. It becomes blanket, it becomes neutral. And without that fear pulling, creating that polarity, it's neutralized. There's no excitement. There's no potential of losing because the beauty of happiness is the potential to lose it. The fact that it could end, the fact that it will end one day. If we knew that we had 1,000,000 years or infinite years here, we might not embrace each moment and live every moment to the fullest and take risks and talk about leaving our comfort zones or talk with each other about what the point of life is because there is no point. It's just here. If you've watched The Good Place, you probably know what I'm talking about because at the end of The Good Place, if you didn't watch it, I don't want to spoil it. So I'm just going to say, if you've watched it, you know the end. That's what would happen if we didn't have all of these beautiful things like risks and fear and sadness and potential for positives, potential for negatives. The potential of life is what makes it so magical. And because of that magical polarity, sometimes we need to sit in the low moments and honor ourselves because there is depth and value in that moment. And there's value in the way you take care of yourself in those moments. It's not only just about the moment, it's about what you do for yourself during that moment. Bottling yourself up, bottling up all your feelings and emotions, that's not going to do anything good for you. What can you do for yourself in those moments? How can you honor the low? Maybe it's taking a break. Maybe it's filling your cup. You know, we talk about these things all the time. The practices, the meditation, being present with yourself, surrounding yourself with good people. What you're doing in that low moment, not isolating yourself, not continuing to dig deeper and deeper and deeper and going down that spiral, see how low you can get. Honoring the moment. And again, not just rushing to find happiness again, just honor the moment. Be with yourself. Do the next best thing for yourself. That is a beautiful space to exist in because then the next day when you feel better, you are honoring it. It's like when you get sick and you have a stuffy nose and you can't really breathe. And you don't really think about how grateful you are to breathe when you're not sick. But then when you get sick, you're like, oh my God, I just wish I could breathe in. And then the day you wake up not sick anymore, you are so grateful for breathing. It's not something we put in our gratitude practice every day because it's just normal. I'm breathing right now. I'm not really thinking about it, right? I'm not thinking about it at all. But when we get sick, it's taken away for a moment. It's restricted and we think, oh, I just wish I could breathe. And then that one moment, it's like, oh, I'm so grateful for my breath. That's what I'm talking about. We don't realize the beauty in everyday things until it's gone. Permanence, that temporariness of it all is what makes it so beautiful. So polarities, balance, these opposites, keeping us whole. How can we be grateful during the low? I'm going to give you an example. How can you be grateful for an income dip? If you're an entrepreneur listening to this, you might have income dips, and that's normal. Sometimes different seasons we're not able to show up as much, or sometimes clients leave us and it doesn't work out how we expected. Sometimes the projections don't go as planned. Sometimes the launch doesn't go as planned. And there can be income dips. And for someone who's in a corporate position or in just like a regular job where they're employed, they might hear me say that and think that is horrifying. I could never live like that. It's horrifying. And that's valid. That's a valid perspective. But let me shift it for you. An income dip is awesome because without the potential for an income dip, there wouldn't be the opportunity for an income influx. And whenever I have an income dip, because even though I'm here, I have income dips too. We all do. Even your largest role models, your biggest leaders, the people you look up to most, they have income dips too. We all do. During those income dips, I am so grateful because the potential to dip is the potential to rise. And like I said, with the anger and peace, the more of a dip that's possible, the more of a rise that's possible. That's what I tell myself in those moments when you need to be grateful and you need to shift your perspective, because it's so true. If I just had consistent 10K months all across the board, that would be boring to me. I would rather sometimes it's a 7K and sometimes it's a 25K and sometimes it's a 50K. And then sometimes maybe it's a 13. You know, that inconsistency is like a high to me. It's so exciting and it's a beautiful thing. And it's not comfortable to me to see the same thing every month. I would rather not know and be in control of what I can be in control of. You know, of course, I'm in control with my strategy. I'm in control of my client experience. I'm in control of the energy I'm putting out to my business and my team members and the decisions I'm making and taking the next best step. And I know that I have control over all of these factors and I can make anything happen. I can manifest any of my greatest desires. We know all of those things. So there's no question mark there. Absolutely no question mark. I know what I'm destined for. I know that I'm made to be in this business. I know that there's no chance of it crumbling down or of it not going my way. I know that I'm always making the right moves. I am always in alignment. I am always trusting, because even those lows are creating potential for my highs and it's creating polarity. So even in a low moment in my mindset, even in a low week in business, even when I don't feel like showing up, it's okay because I'm honoring myself. I'm honoring my cycle, and I'm honoring that next week when I'm up high and loving it and so ready to show up, I'm going to be grateful that when I didn't feel like showing up, I chillaxed and I didn't force myself to show up. I don't create resistance to it. I honor the polarities. So being grateful for an income dip, it makes sense because I would rather have the potential for excitement, the potential for, like I said, making $1 million overnight, because it can totally happen and it will happen eventually for all of us, right? If it's in your dreams, it can happen. Be a big dreamer. There is no limit to how big you can dream, because if you've dreamed it and you genuinely believe that you're capable of it, and you're not laughing at me saying that, if you genuinely believe that it's possible, then it's in your vortex and it is possible. Infinite intelligence. There's no limits to how big you can dream. So for me, in my brain, in my mindset, I would rather have the potential for that huge, exciting part and take with that the potential for a lower month and prepare accordingly and do whatever I need to do in my mindset and in my strategy for that potential. I would rather have that than just know every month I'm going to get this same exact number. No higher, no lower. This is what it is for life, because this is my job. This is what the number is. And that's that. that's not exciting to me, I would probably die of boredom. I love the creative nature and the unpredictable nature of entrepreneurship. So that's how I'm able to be so grateful. And, if a client were to discontinue, how can you be grateful for a client not continuing? Because people say it opens up space for the right person to come in. And that's valid. That is so true. That's exactly what I'm going to say. But I think sometimes we hear that and it's like, yeah, okay, but I still really would have liked for my client to not discontinue. Or maybe when you're trying to sign a new client and it didn't work out and someone says, oh, well, it opens up space for the right person to come in. But it really, really, really does. And you need to trust that 100%. You need to trust that the milk that you decide to pick up at the store is the right one for you. And the client that you sign is the right one for you. Even if the client experience doesn't work out, if something is unaligned, it's misaligned between the two of you and the client experience doesn't go as you planned, trust that that's what was meant for you. It taught you a lesson. It brought you some type of experience. It is always working out in your favor for a reason. If you are able to live like that, with that mindset in hand and fully trusting that in your heart, everything is always working out for you, because why wouldn't it? You're the protagonist. You're the superstar. You are the lead in the movie. This is your movie. This is your world. Everything works out for you. You wouldn't watch a movie about someone who has just like a mundane life and everything's just fine. You watch the movie about the people that go through these crazy things and then come out on top and make the world their oyster, or whatever the phrase is. I hate little catchphrases like that, so I'm surprised I just said that, but it's okay. It was just in the heat of the moment. So this is what we're talking about here. We're shifting perspective. Money, emotions, opportunities, love, everything is meant to happen. Everything is always happening for a reason. And you honoring yourself in those low moments and honoring your perspective and trusting in your heart that you are on the right path, trusting that when you ask the universe for aligned action, you are shown the next best step. You are given that intuition and that inner guidance to take the next best step, do the next best thing, speak to the next best person. You are always making the right move because you're trusting your intuition and you're leading with your heart and soul. Then you're great. You're golden. Honor the low days. If you need to take a day to just lay in bed and be with yourself, if you need to turn off your phone for the day, if you are feeling sad, if you're feeling overwhelmed, honor the emotions, honor the feelings, because those create a polarity for the incredible feelings. And remember to put your happiness on the scale with more weight. Hold your happiness to a higher standard. Hold your happiness as your top priority. Don't let anything get in the way of your happiness and what makes your life amazing, because you deserve that. And remember, last thing I want to leave you with, your dreams are meant for you. They don't belong to anyone else. They are yours. Thank you so much for listening today. If you have any questions about this, please feel free to reach out to me. I would love to talk to you about your perspective shifts. And remember, if you're listening on Spotify, go ahead, leave a response to the question, try to challenge me, try to see if there's a way you can give me an example of something that can't have a perspective shift, and I bet I can do it. Challenge me. Let's see if I can do it. I love you guys so much. I am so grateful for you. Today's perspective shift is we are flipping anything. Money, emotions, opportunities, love, it can all be flipped. And if you see something as a low, it's valid, honor the low, but also recognize that that low creates opportunity for the highs. And without that, everything would be neutral and we wouldn't have any of the fun that we get to have together. Thank you so much for listening. I will talk with you next time. Thank you for tuning in to Perspective with KP. Let's connect with each other on Instagram and TikTok at Align with KP. Download my free masterclass to kickstart your alignment journey in the episode description. Shout out to Michelle Kreber for producing our music. Keep choosing you and keep choosing alignment. See you next time. Love, KP.